Morning. How the devil are you all doing this fine Friday? Hope you're all feeling well. Today for me is doubly momentous. For one thing, today is my wedding anniversary. 33 years ago to this very day. My then girlfriend apparently had a lapse of good sense and said, I do. At 33 years, 4 children and 3 grandchildren later, I'm sure she's still wondering what the hell she was thinking, but happy anniversary to Mrs. Demolition News, who I'm sure is listening intently as I speak. Now, as I said, today was doubly momentous, and the second part of that double is probably not quite as big a deal as my wedding anniversary. Well, not to me anyway. But yesterday afternoon, my son Fred finally, at long last, got his 100,000th YouTube subscriber. So at some point in the next couple of weeks or so, he should be receiving his silver play button from the fine folks at YouTube. It was neck and neck for a while, and there was a very brief moment when I thought I might actually overtake him, but he has topped the 100,000 mark, while I'm still languishing back at a lowly 84,000. However, shouldn't be long till we become a 2 silver play button house. Let's hope so, at least. Just a very quick reminder, today is Friday, and so I'm delighted that our construction equipment news show will return live at 1 p.m. this afternoon. We missed a week due to basically a lack of news. And then I was away in Verona, so I couldn't do last week's show, but it is back in just a few hours' time, and I hope you can find the time to tune in. Between now and then, I will be tuning into a webinar entitled, Does My CS Card Still Work? If you're watching our mental health show on Wednesday evening, you will know that Steve Kerslake of Construction Sport is a very keen advocate for the industry. He is actually one of the panelists, along with my mate Aaron Davis of Flannery. They've also managed to get one of the CSCS team to actually put their head above the parapet. So it should make for very interesting viewing or listening. If you would like to join, I've got a button for it somewhere. Let me think. It will be that one. There, you need to pre-register for the show or for the webinar. But if you are a CSCS card holder, I would strongly suggest that you do go and give it a listen. And just one final thing before we actually get things underway. If you've been watching for the last couple of days, you will know that I'm about to be the star, the undisputed star of a new computer and video game. Well, the man behind the game sent me another still from the game last night. Check this out. As you can see, that's my setup. It has my my notice board with my hats and my lanyards. It's got my live on air sign, kindly donated by Mr. Gary Muirhead. It's even got the crown that sits above my head. Let me think. There, if you have a look. So fantastic. I really. I realise it makes me incredibly vain, but I honestly can't wait to see exactly how that's all going to turn out. Now, without further ado, I'm going to roll the intro, post the question of the day, reintroduced at popular demand, and get this show underway. And it is a Friday, the 12th of May. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony. In today's show, Hitachi goes super compact with its new ZX95 USB-7. The USB doesn't mean you plug it into your computer. I'm fairly sure about that. We're going all Italian with MB Crusher at SaMoTer 2023. Bobcat puts the joy in joystick. Plus, we're on site with the fine folks at Takeuchi. And we're going to get to all that in just a second. But first, let's trawl back through the mist of time to see what was happening on this day in history. On this day in 1215, English barons served an ultimatum on King George. No, they didn't. They served it on King John. Don't know where the George came from. That would ultimately lead to the creation and signing of the Magna Carta just up the road from me at Runnymede. In 1789, Britain abolished the slave trade, while in 1797, Napoleon conquered Venice. Don't blame him. Venice is lovely. On this date in 1965, the Rolling Stones recorded I Can't Get No Satisfaction. 1965. I would have been about 4 months old when they did that. Brilliant. 2 years later, Jimi Hendrix released the Are You Experienced album. Another brilliant set of songs. In 1994, Pulp Fiction premiered at the Cannes Film Festival. But far more importantly than all of that, on this day in 1980, West Ham United lifted the FA Cup after defeating Arsenal in the final. West Ham were in the old second division at the time. Arsenal were the lords of all football. We beat them 1-0. Sir Trevor Brooking, as he is now, scoring with a stooping header, one of the only headers he ever actually made in the game, to secure the FA Cup. 1980. I know, I think we've won largely bugger all since then. Now, before we get into the real meat of the show, let me remind you of the question of the day, and I'm going to do so using my new computer avatar. Yes, the weekend will soon be upon us, so how will you be spending yours? Personally, I will be taking Mrs. Demolition News for a spot of lunch to celebrate our 33 years of marriage. I also have some work to do in the garden, which has gone from desolate wasteland to overgrown jungle in the space of about 3 days. Sure, I'm not alone in that. But what does the weekend have in store for you? Let me know in the chat. And while you're doing that, I'll roll this. I think we can all agree that Hitachi makes some of the very best excavators on God's green earth. So when Hitachi drops a new model, we all take note. Well, they have. And this is what it looks like.
The new ZX95 US and USB-7 compact excavators have been designed to help you control your profitability, comfort, safety and uptime, as well as provide you with unrivaled levels of support over their life cycle. Your profit will increase thanks to the powerful performance across a variety of applications. Larger than the ZX85-6 model, the new Zaxis-7 machines are more powerful and offer 10% greater stability and 4% greater digging force, boosting productivity on the job site. Operators can control the fuel efficiency and reduce costs with the all-new EcoGauge. Lifecycle costs are reduced with the new Stage 5 compliant engine, which does not require an SCR system. This eliminates the need for urea, filter replacements and associated maintenance. You can boost your profits by working on a wider range of projects thanks to the excellent versatility of these Zaxis-7 excavators. A variety of specifications will meet the requirements of any job site, including mono and two-piece boom. The compact size, short turning radius and shorter distance between the bucket and blade allow them to work efficiently and safely in confined areas. Grading and levelling can be completed quickly and easily thanks to the optional floating blade. You can work quicker and with greater control by moving the blade angle up to 25 degrees left and right, and by using the optional auxiliary flow adjustment for attachments, which also protects the machine. Different attachments can be easily changed using the enhanced attachment support system on the 8-inch LCD monitor and the factory-ready quick hitch system including piping with Hitachi construction machinery quality standard. The redesigned, state-of-the-art Zaxis-7 cab is the perfect working environment. The ultra-spacious ZX95 US and USB-7 offer an industry-leading first-class cab, which is easy to access due to a low step and wide entrance and has an improved pedal layout and ample legroom. Feel the difference in comfort levels with the synchronized motion of the seat and console, and sit comfortably thanks to the easily adjustable height with 3 positions to choose from, Easy operation comes from the new ergonomic design of the console and switches and convenient access to controls. Added functionality to the easy-to-view screen and joysticks make your working day effortless and enjoyable. Your safety is enhanced by the superior view you get from the Xaxis S7 cab. The aerial angle camera system gives you an exceptional 270-degree bird's eye view of your surroundings, and you can choose from 6 image options on the monitor to see the machine's immediate environment. For superior visibility in low light conditions, the optional ambient light for the camera makes it easier to view, and the lights on the boom and the cab have been repositioned to illuminate the job site more effectively, so you can work confidently and productively even in challenging conditions. For enhanced safety, both models can be optionally fitted with a cab guard level 2. The fuel tank has also been repositioned to make it easier and safer to refill. Xaxis S7 excavators will boost your uptime because of their ultra-reliable performance and durability. Tested rigorously at dedicated facilities in Japan, they are built to last. Be assured there is durability and quality in every detail. Downtime is also minimised by easy maintenance and cleaning. The spacious engine compartment makes it easy to carry out servicing and maintenance. The radiator is easily accessible, and the battery is also easy to replace. All filters are conveniently available in one compartment for quick and easy replacement. With a wide range of Hitachi after-sales services, you'll feel in total control of your Xaxis S7 excavator. Stay on top of your projects via Owner's Site and Consite, 2 remote monitoring systems that are part of Global E-Service. Your maintenance costs and unscheduled downtime will be reduced by oil sensors that continually monitor the quality of engine and hydraulic oil. And as your business grows, you can extend your fleet to meet demand through the Hitachi Premium Rental Program. With Hitachi Xaxis S7 excavators, we put you firmly in control of your business, your workspace and your fleet. In partnership with Hitachi, you can create your vision.
Yeah, I haven't seen one of those in the flesh yet, but I think it's pretty safe to assume that they will be to the usual Hitachi high standards. Now, how about a spot of this? Lou, if you're still listening, get Shazam ready because here comes OAP 283. Yep, I've listened to it hundreds of times now. Still not a clue what they're saying. Where were we? Yes, there was no question. The biggest stand at last week's SaMoTer show in Italy was the Komatsu stand. Perhaps the most impressive area was the digital construction site, which was absolutely terrific. But if there was an accolade for the best demonstration, it surely would have gone to the fine folks at MB Crusher.
We're here at SaMoTer 2023, and behind me is the MB Crusher stand.
Yeah, to avoid issues with copyright, I've had to take it off and replace it. But the music play on the MB Crusher stand was like a mini rave. I actually found myself tapping my feet for a little while we were filming that. So top job, MB Crusher. And while let me just say grazie to these people at MB Crusher as well. While we're talking about all things musical, we have finally figured out, to a degree, the music playing behind the Lighthouse Club ad that we feature every single day. Apparently is My Go Away Dream by Not the King, according to Lucani and Shazam. I'm none the wiser. None of that means a damn thing to me, but at least we know what the thing's called. Apparently not OAP 283. Slightly disappointed about that. Now we need a bit of this. Just had a word from our friend Peter Sicknote McKenna. Crushing buckets are a fair tool, but they won't replace a standard crusher. Not in regular crushing, they won't. But if you're on an inner city site where you can't get a big crusher in there, they make a fantastic alternative. Now, there was a time, if you cast your mind back a little bit, I just had one more comment on that bucket. Let's just go back to that. The bucket will never replace the crusher for output. No, it won't. But as I've just said, if you are pushed for space, it's a pretty good alternative. Now, where were we? Yes, we're going from Italy, which is where we just were, over to America in just a second when I can get my buttons sorted out. There we go. And this time we're watching a contractor putting some Takeuchi excavators, mini excavators, through their paces. Take a look at this.
Currently, CarterCon is digging out pits for the mechanical slack conveyors to be installed. So the production volumes will increase because the product will be continuously moving through each operation.
CarterCon started in 2015. We'll celebrate our 8th birthday. We began as a couple of guys who wanted to take our technical abilities and use them in the way we wanted to do them. Our area of expertise is in industrial work. We are a high power and efficiency company that specializes in the retrofits of operating plants. We strive to keep plants running while getting the construction done. The project entails the excavation of approximately 1,000 yards of dirt within the plant, and we will install approximately 300 cubic yards of concrete back into this facility. We have 2 TL8 track loaders, TB250 excavator, and a TB240 excavator. We are heavily invested in Takeuchi. They lead the market in safety and efficiency. Our employees can get into any piece of equipment, and it is exactly the same. The equipment is always ready to go. It's ready to work, and you get 100% every day you're on the job.
There's a sense of pride with hiring a company that uses Takeuchi equipment just because you can actually see it out and performing compared to producing the units themselves. So I think it's great to see the machines actually out in the field working and seeing what they're capable of doing.
We're excited about the future of the new line coming on to increase production for Takeuchi, and CarterCon is thrilled to be a part of it.
Yeah, cracking video, and great to feature the fine folks at Takeuchi on the show. We don't get here anywhere near enough from those guys. Hopefully we'll be stepping that up in the not too distant future. Now I'm going to throw over to the chat very quickly. A couple of things I want to pick up on. Nigel Williams is here. Morning, Nigel. About to do my practical grader test. Wish me luck, fellas. You don't need luck, Nigel. You'll sail through that. Does a bucket crusher beat one of the mini crushers, or has there not been a comparison trial for those? There has been a comparison trial for those because I did it. I did it years ago. We actually ran an MB Crusher bucket from Worsley Plant alongside a Red Rhino. No contest. The MB Crusher was about 3 times more productive than the Red Rhino. So, yes, fantastic bit of kit. Let's have a look. Morning, Nigel Williams says, Dan Cullen, can't wait for tomorrow night. Mickey Flanagan at the O2. Fantastic. That's a good way to spend your weekend. Good luck, mate. You will smash it. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. Plenty of firms sending brick and block piles off-site, then buying 6 F2 of the same firm. So basically buying their rubble back. I've suggested our lot has a crusher bucket to move around the site as and when needed. You know, it's really interesting. I'm going back. I'm probably going back the best part of 20 years here. I went to a Baumer way back when, and there was a company there that had a mini crusher, not dissimilar to the Red Rhino, but maybe a little bit more compact, towed behind basically a family car, more or less. And I got to speaking to one of the users of that machine. And he basically worked for a local authority, and he literally went. I think he had like an Isuzu Trooper or something like that, and he just literally went from site to site to site to site, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sites per day. Just go along, crush what they had, spit it out the other end, and then go. Fantastic little business. I'm surprised it's never caught on, to be honest. Brilliant build quality on those machines. I think we're talking about the Takeuchis, and yes, you're absolutely right. Morning all, says Gaz Evans, who is now gearing up for plant works, as I'm sure Luke Carney is doing as well. Love the way the Yank Safe facilities instead of in the shed. Takeuchi is some kit, and their 8-ton is, in my opinion, the best I've operated. Yeah, their 8-tonner is a pretty smart machine. There is Luke Carney. Apparently, the lyrics to the Lighthouse Club song is "Go Away Dream, You Ain't Real, Let Me See Her." Who knew? Who knew? I as I say, I listened to that probably 20 times before we actually featured it on the show. Never actually took the time to figure out what it was, and frankly, now I do know what the words are. It makes even less sense. Best of luck to Nigel Williams, says Dan Cullen. Nice one, Mark. Thanks for that, says Peter McKenna. Not a problem at all. We are here to serve, are we not? Now, I think we need. What do we need? What am I in the mood for? I think I'm in the mood for one of these.
Since the finance bill came into effect in April, the construction industry has seen a surge of fuel thefts. The rising cost of living has placed an additional risk of theft by employees and contractors, as well as opportunistic thieves. By using diesel dye and placing warnings of its use, you are sending a clear message that this is your fuel.
There was a time when joysticks were the sole preserve of fighter pilots. Then they came to the world of gaming and to the field of construction. But while those early joysticks controlled a series of very simple functions, the joystick of today contains a seemingly endless degree of functionality. Just take a look at this new video from Bobcat, purveyors of some damn fine compact equipment and some very, very smart controls.
Hello, I'm Mike Fitzgerald with Bobcat Company. Today we're going to look at some exclusive features of Bobcat's selectable joystick controls that help your machine adapt to specific job requirements. Those features are drive response mode, speed management, horsepower management, and steering drift compensation. I'll give a quick look at each one of these features. Drive response mode allows you to choose how the drive responds to joystick movement. You can set a more gradual response, get quick, instant feedback from your input, or strike a good balance between both. To change your drive response setting, go to your machine settings screen on your in-cab display. Select the drive response setting. There are 3 drive response settings you can choose. Drive response 1 provides a smooth, responsive drive reaction to input. Drive response 2 is the default setting on your loader. It provides a normal responsive drive reaction to joystick movement. Drive response 3 gives you a good, quick drive response to joystick movement. Your chosen setting will be saved automatically. Each operator can choose their own drive response preference. Speed management allows you to dial in your required travel speed in small increments to match speed to your operation requirements and maximize attachment performance. Speed management gives you a full range of joystick motion at a slower speed, giving you precise control of machine movements while maintaining maximum driveline torque and full hydraulic power. It can be useful for tasks such as planing asphalt, soil conditioning, blowing snow, and more. To engage speed management, press the speed management button or snail icon on the left joystick once. When speed management is engaged, your machine's top speed is set to a percentage of your standard travel speed. This percentage is shown briefly in your display. To adjust the percentage, press the top speed control switch or rabbit icon. The percentage shown in your display will increase. You can set the maximum speed to as high as 99% of your standard travel speed. To reduce the percentage, press the bottom of your speed control switch, or the turtle icon. You can set your maximum speed as low as 1% of your standard control speed. Refer to the display to track your current setting. To disengage speed management, press the snail icon again. The speed management icon will turn off. If your machine is equipped with optional 2-speed travel, you must disengage speed management before using 2-speed. When you use speed management again, the system will return to your previously set speed percentage as long as the machine remains on. You can change your default speed setting and save adjustment time by selecting Machine Settings in your display. Select Speed Management. Scroll down to the default speed management setting. Use the slider bar to adjust your default speed management setting. Press and hold the speed management button with the snail icon. This will save your default speed setting. Next time you start the machine and activate speed management, this will be your new starting point for adjustment. Horsepower management automatically adjusts the loader drive system to maximize pushing and digging power while minimizing your chance of stalling. Unlike other anti-stall systems, Bobcat's horsepower management lets the operator obtain maximum engine and drive torque to keep your productivity high. If you prefer to work without it, operate your machine in speed management. Horsepower management is turned off while in the speed management mode. Steering drift compensation keeps you on a straight path by helping you make minor adjustments to the steering. It's beneficial when you side shift certain attachments, such as planers or trenchers, as this will tend to pull the machine to one side. You can also use it while driving on surfaces that cause the loader to gradually drift left or right, such as crowned roads. To adjust steering drift compensation, enter the machine settings screen during machine operation. Select steering drift from the settings menu. Press the left or right buttons at the top of your left joystick to adjust the steering drift setting. A bar graph on the display shows the current settings for forward and reverse. Forward drift settings can be adjusted in neutral or while traveling forward. Reverse steering drift settings can be adjusted during reverse travel. The adjustments to your steering drift compensation are effective immediately. That's just a quick run-through of some great features you'll have in your selectable joystick controls equipped Bobcat loader. For more information, see your operation and maintenance manual, talk to your local Bobcat dealer, or visit bobcat.com.
Now, I'm one of those people that can barely operate the boom, raise, and bucket crowd functions, so all of that looked way too complicated for me. What do you guys think? I know we've had some positive feedback in the chat. Let me know in the chat if you think that is a worthwhile system. Certainly looks the part to me. Now we need one of these. Does anyone else find their local high street filled with mopeds and motor scooters these days? I popped over to my daughter's house yesterday and I drove back through Epsom town centre, which is sort of a mile that way. Now, like most modern town centres, Epsom is mostly a collection of charity shops and fast food joints these days. Outside the McDonald's, there was a row of more than 20 mopeds, all of them parked on the public footpath. Outside the KFC, there was a dozen more, and there was another bunch outside the branch of Subway. Incidentally, does anybody actually like Subway? Now, if I decided to park my vehicle on the footpath, I would get a ticket. I'd have my car towed away. But apparently, if you work for Uber Eats, Deliveroo, or one of the other food delivery services, you can do pretty much what you damn well please. I realise that folks have got to earn a living. I also realise that the so-called gig economy really works for some people. But should they be allowed to just clog up the pavement and make life difficult for pedestrians just because someone is too bone idle to fetch themselves a burger? Anyway, that's my gripe for the day. I'd love to hear yours. And I'm just going to stop and pause for a moment here. Those of you that are aware of my my career in the porn industry, I'm not going to get into it now. But I wrote a column for an adult magazine, and the original idea was that I was going to write three columns for that, 3 monthly columns, because after that they were expecting to be inundated with readers' offers on said column. 4 years later, I was still writing it. I've got a funny feeling that this gripe of the day is going the same way. So far, apart from griping about the people that are actually working alongside you, we've had nothing. So people, please share your gripe of the day. What is it that grinds your gears, gets your goat, and generally butters your parsnips? The Daily Gripe therapy session will return very, very soon. Next Monday, probably. Right, that pretty much wraps up the main part of this morning's show. I will remind you, however, that I will be back at 1 p.m. this afternoon with the latest episode of Construction Equipment News. Wherever you happen to be watching this now, I'll be back here at 1 o'clock with details of new products from Demolition, JCB, and Steel Wrist as well. So be sure to tune in for all of that. And also, don't forget, and I'm going to repost it right now when I can reach it. And I'm just... I'm sorry, I've just seen a comment from Lou Carney, and it's completely thrown me off my train of thought. There we are. There is a seminar going on in about half an hour's time. It is called "Does My CSCS Card Still Work?" And yeah, Lou Carney says, "Shaven Ravers, wasn't it?" No, it wasn't. It was Razzle, actually. But hey, listen, very, very similar. Right. Yes, tune into that CSCS card thing because it's got a couple of mates of mine, Steve Kerslake, and also Aaron Davis from Flannery, ex of Kelpray as well. Should be a good one. And they've also actually managed to rope in somebody from CSCS to face the cannon fire. So if you have the time and the inclination, please follow the link in the chat that I've just posted there, pre-register, and I hope to see you over there. I'm going to roll the outro just a second before leaping gazelle-like over into the chat to see what you're all saying today. I'd like to finish by about 10:55 so I can actually have a cup of tea before starting that seminar as well. If you can't stick around for that, then please stay safe, look after yourself, your family, your friends, and your colleagues, and have a good weekend. But if you do have the time and the inclination, I'll see you on the other side of this for what is now known as the Craic. Here is a word from our show sponsor. Good morning, one and all. How are we all this fine Friday? Sun shining here. I don't know what it's doing where you are, but it's looking like it could be a decent weekend. I will get to weekends in just a moment. Who was first off the mark this morning? I believe it was Mr. Hatcher himself, who also has some sunshine. Good morning to you, Ken, and thank you very much indeed for being here. Ken has apparently filled in one of these Facebook survey forms that attempts to predict your future. And apparently, at some point this year, Ken Hatcher is going to become the father to a set of triplets. Good luck with that, Ken. I can honestly see that one coming true. Good luck. Nick Drew, Mr. Diggerman blog himself. Good morning, Nick. And we'll come back to Nick because, like so many others, including myself and Lou Carney, the weekends don't necessarily mean putting your feet up and watching the football. We'll come back to that in just a second. There is Lou Carney saying Happy Friday. Happy Friday indeed, Lou. And it is, just to let everybody know, today it is 32 days and counting to the opening of Plant Works. 32 days. That's a baker's month or something. 32 days. Mark Whiting's in the house. Good morning, Mark. Thank you very much indeed for being here, as you so often are. There's our friend Stephen Guthrie as well. Morning, and what a lovely one it is. I thought exactly the same. We had our resident shed fox back on the roof this morning. But he spotted me and he ran away. But I spotted him very, very briefly this morning, enjoying the sunshine. I could see him lavishing his body with ombre solaire from where I was. He wasn't doing that at all, but the shed fox is back. Kerry Jones, all the way from Welsh Wales. Good morning, Kerry. Thank you very much indeed for being here and for your continued support. Congratulations on surviving. I think that relates to my 33rd wedding anniversary, and I think that is probably aimed at my wife, because she's done all the surviving. I've basically brought all the problems by and large, but she's done all the surviving. Thank you very much indeed for that, Gary, and good morning to you. Good morning. Happy Friday, guys, and happy anniversary. 33 years. Can you believe it? And it was only today that I realised it was exactly 10 years after one of the happiest moments of my life. I have a couple of Arsenal fans, or I had a couple of Arsenal fans in my family. I tried to have them adopted, but could never pull it off. But we all sat around my parents' house on the 12th of May 1980. I was wearing a West Ham kit and a West Ham scarf and a West Ham hat. A couple of others were wearing Arsenal gear. West Ham won. Happiest day of my life up until that point. 10 years later to the day, second happiest. 12th of May, big deal for me. Let's have a look. Yes, my question of the day was, what are your plans for the weekend? Ken Hatcher says, I think I'll have a quiet weekend, maybe pop down to the Mint. Gary Muirhead is saying good morning to my long-suffering lady wife. Yes, good morning, Ruth. I don't know if you're listening at the moment, but good morning. Now, here's the thing. I've casually thrown away there. What do you have planned for the weekend? Personally, I've got to write my column for Monday morning. I've also got to do a bit of prep for Monday morning show as well. Nick Drew is in exactly the same boat. Question of the day. He is doing blog prep, trying to organise some new Earth Movers magazine site visits, and then it's grocery shopping and a bike ride if the weather stays nice. So there was a time I used to get to Friday out on the lash, and then Saturday and Sunday was largely spent recovering, playing or watching football, going fishing and that kind of thing. These days it's just an overspill from the week, and we carry on working. This is how you should spend your weekend, in my belief. Stephen Guthrie, football then fishing. Perfect combination, and perfect order as well. Well done on that. That looks a nice machine. I think we were talking there about the Hitachi, and yes, it does look a nice machine. Question of the day. See, here's another one. Working over the weekend. Working on the Plant Works preview for Construction Works, the CEA member magazine. Can only do this when there are no phone calls, emails, or texts. Funnily enough, I'm kind of the other way with things like that. When I've got a lot of writing to do, the phone stays on. I have music louder than I normally would, because I originally started writing in a very busy office. I can't do it quietly. Question of the day. Nothing at the moment. No doubt when I get home there'll be a list waiting for me of things to do. Yes. Another of the joys of matrimony and marriage. There's been a lot of thought put into that Hitachi excavator. Well done. Starting to think about the operator. Yeah, and I have to say, it's one of the questions that I've been asking for quite some time whenever we are, myself and Nick Drew and the other members of the press, the other lesser members of the press, quite obviously. It's one of the questions I often ask, how much involvement has there been from operators? And certainly some of the major manufacturers, and I'm thinking specifically here about the likes of Caterpillar, Komatsu, Volvo, JCB, they do have a very active program of getting operators involved at a very early stage of the design. There used to be this belief, I think, that operators didn't really matter. They would just operate what they were given. But I think we now understand that a good many contractors, and certainly the good contractors and the plant hirers, they will actually ask their operators what they believe, because the operators, like a lot of the guys in the chat that we have here right now, they know the machines better than pretty much anyone. They know the ups and the downs and the foibles and the idiosyncrasies of every single machine, and I think the manufacturers have now caught on to that and are actively involving operators. Jim Turner is here as well, says morning peeps. Morning Jim, thank you very much indeed for pitching up. Peter McKenna, no need to apologise for being late, my friend. We don't run a very tight ship here, as you've probably gathered by now. See, whenever anyone mentions food around about this time of the day, it makes me feel hungry. Peter McKenna had to go to the shops, which is why he was a little bit late. No bread for bacon butts. No. Is it just my house that only ever seems to run out of the very stuff that you need? You know, you wake up some mornings and you think, fancy a bit of toast, and there's either no bread or there's no butter. Or, in the case of Peter's situation there, fancied a bacon butty, and sure enough, no bread. Why is that? Why is there no butter or baked beans about the place? Could that be my gripe for next week? It could possibly be. Morning, guys. Sorry late to the show. Not a problem at all, Dan. As I said, we don't keep a register here. No penalisation at all for late arrival. Question of the day. Peter McKenna says, I think I'll be looking for myself a flat as relationship at home making my mental health go haywire. I'm not going to comment on that on the basis that it is my 33rd wedding anniversary and my wife is in earshot. I'll just let that one pass. Nice machine, looks good, though the 8-ton cab is the worst ever and uncomfortable. Hope Hitachi have sorted it. Oh, excuse me. Do you know, I've never actually heard that about Hitachi machines. I thought they were among the like the BMW of the industry. Interesting take. Let's have a look. Crushing buckets are a fair tool. Yes, they are, but they won't replace a standard crusher. Horses for courses, I believe, Peter. As I said, I mean, particularly here in London, in Birmingham, Manchester, Leeds, Glasgow, all the major conurbations, you are finding it increasingly hard to get crushers, big crushers, static crushers or mobile crushers into sites and out of sites. Partly because of restrictions on space, but also restrictions on vehicle movements and that kind of thing. If that's the case, a crusher bucket is a very, very productive alternative. And we'll come back to that in just a second. I think the bucket will never replace the crusher for output. No, it won't replace the crusher for output. But if you've got material to crush and you can't get a crusher in there, what is the alternative? It's still better than shipping all of that unbroken rubble out and then having to re-import it at some point in the future. I will say good luck to Nigel Williams, not that he needs it. He is doing his practical grader test today. Does a bucket crusher beat one of the mini crushers, or has there been a comparison trial for these? Yeah, just to pick up on that again. Long after I left Plant Manager's Journal, one of my friends, a guy called Jim Wilkinson, was made the publisher of Plant Manager's Journal. And he phoned me up one afternoon and said, Plant Manager's Journal is looking a bit stale. Would you consider coming back as a guest editor? And the original idea was I was going to be guest editor for 3 issues, so 3 months. I ended up staying for 6 months. And one of the first things that I did, in actual fact, the first issue that I was editor of, we actually organised a field test of an MB crusher bucket from Worsley Plant and a Red Rhino crusher, the mini crusher as well, and no contest. We actually filmed that, and bizarrely, when I went back at the end of my 6 months and sat down with my mate Jim, he basically said, you know, thanks for all your help. Where do we take it from here? And this would have been 2006, 2007, I would guess. And I said, well, you need to have a website for Plant Manager's Journal because the industry is moving faster than a monthly magazine can keep up. But you've also seen what we've done with video and the number of views that we're getting on that video. And you need to embrace that as well. And lo and behold, I think Jim took that to the board and they all went, that sounds fantastic, but the internet will never catch on and video sounds far too expensive. They killed the idea, and about 6 months later, Plant Manager's Journal ceased to exist. I'm not saying I would have saved it. I'd have given it a bloody good shot because it was one of the magazines on which I cut my teeth. But yeah, failure to move with the times costs them dear, and frankly, we're back in that scenario again. When you look at the rise of the influencers and content creators on YouTube, on Facebook. Think about, I've already mentioned it, my son Fred, who runs the Diggers and Dozers YouTube channel. He has 100,000 subscribers. There is not a magazine in this industry anywhere in the world that has even half that many subscribers. And it's basically done by one person with a camera and a laptop. That's it. No great editorial teams, and it's far more enjoyable to watch. It's far more insightful than most of what qualifies as journalism now. So yeah, it is history repeating itself. My old Plant Manager's Journal and Contract Journal both failed to move with the times and were killed as a result. There are others out there that are facing exactly the same situation now. Morning night, Mr. Nigel Williams. Can't wait for tomorrow night. Mickey Flanagan at the O2. Should be a scream, I would say. Excuse me. Do need to get my beard trimmed. I keep eating parts of it. Plenty of firms sending brick and block piles off site, then buying it 6F2 off the same firm, so basically buying back their own rubble. I've suggested our lot has a crusher bucket to move around the site. Totally. Why would you not? And particularly when you think about, the rise of the quick coupler now, you can literally pop off whatever attachment you're using, do a bit of crushing, drop that off, and then go back to whatever you were doing before. Fine investment, and I'm sure the fine folks at MB Crusher would be more than happy to speak to your people. Let's have a look. Yes, we finally got to the bottom of the lyrics to the Lighthouse Club. Still makes no sense, and there is a very quick reminder. And while we're speaking about plant works, I'm going to be touching on it this afternoon, but if you have a look in your chat box right about now, you should see the link to actually pre-register. I'll remind you of this afternoon on the Construction Equipment News Show, but if you pre-register before midnight tonight, i.e. 23:59 tonight, you'll be entered into a prize draw, and you could win yourself a £150 chip and pin gold card. You could be one of 5 people to win a chip and pin gold card worth 150 quid, which would pretty much cover the cost of your petrol to get you to and from plant work. So please go pre-register. Good luck, Nigel, says Jim Turner. I mentioned our old Isuzu Trooper. Yes, Trooper best and most powerful 4x4 compared to other brands of 4x4, and they had a 5-ton towing capacity compared to others at 3 tons. Yeah, dead right. Good luck, Nigel. You need to you do need it. You'll show the trainer how it's done. Absolutely, I'm sure he will. And for those of you that are not aware, I'm sure most of you are now, but those of you that aren't aware, Nigel Williams, as well as being a damn fine operator, has a very good podcast as well. It's called From the Seat of the Cab, and you can listen to it pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts. I listen to it via iTunes or Apple Podcasts as it is these days, but if you search for From the Seat of the Cab online, I'm sure you'll find it. I like the skid steers that Dirt Monkey has. I don't know Dirt Monkey. I'm assuming that's a YouTube channel, but I'm going to go and look that up. Cool tune to the Bobcat, and looks an awesome bit of kit. Bobcat kind of came up on the blind side to me during COVID. Obviously, always been aware of Bobcat. They've been around for as long as I have, and have always done a very good job. I've always associated them primarily with skid steers, although they do make a damn fine mini excavator as well. But when COVID hit, to my mind, a lot of companies kind of put their head down and hoped that it would all go away. Bobcat put their foot to the floor and basically continued to innovate. Anybody that saw the coverage from Balmer last year, things like their LED panel display, heads-up display on the cab of their machines, the remote control via iPhone and that kind of thing. They really did put their foot down and made some great innovations. Bobcat, one to watch, people. There is Peter McKenna, got to go soon, driving appraisal time shortly. Everybody's doing tests today. Yeah, that's a great explanation video. Other manufacturers should watch and take note. Again, Bobcat taking the lead. One of the biggest frustrations, and to be perfectly honest, it's exactly the reason why our afternoon show today exists. Obviously, I like this to be a predominantly video based show. I like to show you videos of equipment that's being launched, equipment that's in action, and so on down the line. But unfortunately, we're still at the crossover point. Not all manufacturers see it worthwhile to produce a video for every new machine that they produce. I wish they did, because that would make this show a whole lot easier to pull together. But we still have some companies that are basically launching a new machine with nothing more than a couple of photographs and some words. I'm trying not to feature that kind of thing here. I'm saving that up for our construction equipment news show, which is a lot punchier. So yes, if you are around at 1 o'clock this afternoon, tune in. You'll be able to see it for yourself. Mopeds are unbelievable and park anywhere they want. Pisses me off. Yeah, pisses me off too. And it didn't cause me any personal frustration. It's just when you see people trying to get to the local bus stop, or trying to get into, in this instance, I'm trying to remember the name of the shop. Yes, we have a branch of Ryman, the stationery shop, right next door to our McDonald's. And there are people literally sort of having to slalom through mopeds and scooters just because people are parking outside. And I know when I mentioned it to my wife yesterday, she actually said, she doesn't try to drive, or she tries not to drive through that part of the town, because when these delivery drivers, Deliveroo and Uber Eats, have got their food on board, they just pull off the curb and just basically cut you up. I think it's the same as the old days of pizza delivery drivers. They stick an L-plate on the back and hope for the best. Don't get the impression any of them are particularly good at the controls of their vehicles. Riding a pedestrian street also boils my blood. Yes, you and me both. Happy anniversary, Mark. Thank you very much indeed. See, I should just take a screenshot of that, because that would make a fantastic... I can see that being perfect clickbait right there. Lou Carney saying Shaven Ravers, wasn't it? No, it was Razzle magazine that I wrote for. Did a couple for Fiesta, but it was Razzle that paid my wages. My gripe is how company management don't visit sites to do a check on their new kit, as some guys don't care. True, very true. Have a lovely weekend, one and all. As I know, I'll be pissing myself laughing Saturday night. Yeah, Mickey Flanagan, an absolute star. Can we move Plant Works forward to July, please? Lou, any chance of doing that? I know we tried to shift it the other day to suit Steve Williamson. Any chance of moving it back? I don't know whether Gaz is running late on his model making, or whether he's more concerned about the weather. Any chance of shifting it? I'm guessing not. Crash of the day, weirdly, gripe of the day rather, weirdly nothing. That doesn't happen very often. I really can't think of anything that's niggling me. You're not trying hard enough, Jim. You need to get a little bit older and a little bit more grumpy, like me, and then you'll find everything to gripe about. Congratulations and happy anniversary. Thank you very much indeed, Dan. Question of the day: the tree planting, sheep dagging, and foot trimming. And if I'm sheep dagging. Not sure I want to ask. And if I'm lucky, I might get a chance to get some machine time in too. Nick Drew says brand new cab on that Hitachi, which goes back to the comment that we had earlier about the cab not being great. Thank you very much indeed for that, Nick. As ever, finger on the pulse. Another pet hate of mine is people in disabled parking spaces that don't have the right to park there. Yeah, we've actually got one. We've got one of these Sainsbury's local shops just down the way, and there is a single disabled parking space out there. My local town, village, call it what you will, is quite busy. There's lots of places to eat and do your shopping and stuff like that, and the disabled parking space is forever filled up with people that quite clearly are not disabled. Totally agree with you. Have I ever done it myself? No. Probably not. Apparently, Gaz, it's bad news on Plantworks. I'm sure that Lou and the team at Plantworks would love to shift things around purely for one person, but it's the other 15,000, 20,000 people they have to worry about. So no, it looks like you're committed to 32 days from now, and I look forward to seeing you there. Right, I said I was going to try and end this with about 5 minutes to spare, so I can have a cup of tea before leaping over onto this CSCS card webinar, and we are at perfect timing. So people, go and have a good weekend. Dagging is trimming around their asses so they don't get fly strike and maggots. I don't apart from taking my good lady wife out for a spot of luncheon to celebrate our anniversary, I don't know what my weekend has in store. But I can guarantee it will be better than Daggy. Wow. See you this afternoon. Yep. Lou, please tune in. There is a plant works element to the proceedings as well, so please be sure to tune in. And I will be reminding everybody to pre-register for the show. Right, I've been talking too long. People, go have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you at 1 o'clock this afternoon if you're available. If not, I'll be back here Monday morning, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, with more tales from the world of construction equipment. I almost said Plant Planet, but that's the name of a sort of magazine. So I'll leave that. I'll be back here again on Monday. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. Thank you for all your input and all your questions and all your gripes and your questions and everything else. See you very soon. All the very best.